Good afternoon. It's Friday, April 9th, 2010, somewhere around 4 or 5 o'clock Pacific Coast time, and welcome to Healthcare Reality. Today's show is called How to Cope with Chronic Illness and Crohn's Disease. I've added Crohn's disease because that's the chronic illness I suffer from. I'm 47 and I've suffered from it since I'm 20. I actually wrote a very funny and informative book about it called Confessions of a Professional Hospital Patient, which you can find at hospitalpatient.com and at Amazon, etc. And I go over everything I cover in healthcare reality in one way or another is in this book. But today I'm talking about this topic because I went on a wonderful Crohn's disease support website called Crohn's Disease Support Network, CDSN. And someone wrote, well, how do you cope with getting a chronic illness? Do you get angry? And a lot of people said they did, and that really sort of made me think about what went through my mind. I was 20. I went through denial. I just kept going about doing what I was doing. When my gastroenterologist said, Michael, you have a flare-up. You need to be on clear liquids. I was sure, great. Then when I left, I considered vodka a clear liquid. I wanted to fit in with my friends. I was too young to understand. Other people at that same age would look for support, but I was of the mindset at 20, I didn't want to join the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. I didn't want to be a member of a club that would have me as a member. Something like that was a very famous quote by Groucho Marx, but I guess I didn't want to be reminded of what this illness could do to me. But soon I didn't have a choice because I found myself canceling on friends to go out at weddings, and I was losing friendships. My friends said, oh, you got this big chronic illness, but you're eating yodels. Like, how can you compare the two? You don't like cheese, but you eat it sometimes. It gets you sick. The lines were blurry, so I realized I needed to understand the illness. So I took about a year or two away from very close friends, and it really hurt because if I didn't understand the illness, really, how could I expect them to? So once I understood the illness, and I was forced to, I had surgeries, I had hospitalizations. I mean, I'm 47, I've had over 150 hospitalizations and over 15 major surgeries of all kinds. And I realized that I got through it all because of my friends. So it's easy for me now to sit back and tell you, don't get angry, okay? The only emotion you should really be thinking about is, okay, I have a chronic illness. It sucks, whether it's breast cancer or prostate cancer or Crohn's. What do I do to move forward? Just focus on what to do to move forward. And then when you get depressed, it's okay. People get depressed when they have a chronic illness and there's a deluge of health insurance paperwork after a flare-up. Or you going crazy trying to speak to your doctor and they have a nasty person who handles the whole office. These are things to get upset about. Don't be angry about the illness, because I have found that my friendships are so incredible and so deep that I would never have known that you could have friendships like this. For me, friendship is the currency of life, and my friends have taught me how to be a better friend by the way they've acted with respect to my illness. So a lot of good has come out of it. But most importantly, besides not getting angry, you got to tackle it. And the way to tackle it is with your relationship with your doctor. You have to make sure that your doctor is treating the person and not the illness. It sounds simple, but doctors know how to treat the illness. What pills to give you, what techniques to use, what surgeries, but they need to understand, are you an active person? Are you a little bit docile? Are you a grandparent? Are you a workaholic? Are you a little bit crazy? Are you a little bit quick to run? Do you have a low pain threshold? They need to understand all of this so that they can treat you accordingly. And it's very important because you're going to have days where you have to go into survival mode. Those are the days that are frustrating. But on the flip side, when you don't have to go into survival mode, you must, and I have to emphasize must, live. With whatever constraints you have, you must live. Survival mode, live. Very easy. Black and white. So the benefit of a chronic illness is it kind of makes things black and white instead of gray. You can't eat this, you can't do that. When certain things happen, you can't go anywhere, okay? But when all systems say go, go, have a good time, learn. I mean, everyone always says, you know, smell the roses. someone with a chronic illness has no choice but to adapt that philosophy. It's the only way to get through life. It really is. And friends, it is the only way. So, anger, no. It's okay to be angry at first. No one wants to hear that. But once you digest it in your head for 24 hours, don't ever get angry again. It's not going to get you anywhere. If it does get you somewhere and you get to speak to someone who makes all these decisions, please email me, because I have a lot to talk to him or her about. But we know that that's never going to happen, okay? So get frustrated, get depressed, just keep your mind on moving forward. Have great relationships with your doctors, okay? And also, the last thing I'll say is, don't be afraid to move on from a doctor. Sometimes you outgrow a relationship. Some docs are so good at being compassionate and focused on making you healthy, but they may not keep their like sort of fingers in the pulse of what's going on down the road in terms of new inventions, new treatments. I'm so fortunate that I have doctors in Los Angeles who have that perfect blend of treating the now and they have an eye towards the future. Don't be afraid. I mean, doctors understand. But you know, there's a way to do it nicely, but sometimes you need a change and sometimes you must change, okay? And try to really understand who you are, because your doctor must fit your personality. Learn how his office staff functions, okay? Try to make things as easy as possible for the doctor. And the last thing I'm going to say is, if you ever have to wait too long or a doctor shows up 2 hours late, well, that used to get me annoyed when I was younger. But then a doctor once said to me, Michael, one day that emergency that held me up is going to be you. And it really opened my eyes, because the Lord knows that emergency was me many, many, many times. So have compassion, all right? Just don't get angry and try to take this all in. And I know it's not easy, and I certainly have my days. But also, don't wear your illness as a symbol, as a weakness. It's something you have. It's relevant to talk about at times, but that's it, okay? You have close friends, talk to them about it, but you don't need to make it who you are. It does not define who you are. How you handle it defines who you are. That's key, and I hope in this video I'm trying to share some things with you that have worked for me, that I learned from people in my life who are a lot smarter than I was, who told me, Michael, your Crohn's disease will never turn me off, but how you handle it will. And that really made me think. And I hope it makes you think, and I hope you feel well, and I hope you have a nice weekend. Thanks.